Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Tom Davis. I'm a professional dog trainer and an expert in dog reactivity and behavior. And today I'm going to be going over the reasons why you're not successful with your leash reactivity, how to prevent leash reactivity, and of course, how to solve all your issues with leash reactivity. Now, here's Burley. He's my 9-month-old puppy. He's a reactive dog by nature because of his genetics, because of his breed. He's a boar bull. If you guys look at the video when he was 9 weeks old, when we brought him home, you can see he was reactive then. He's protective. He's confident in his own skin. He's very observant, as you can see. He's checking out the kids, but he's not super reactive. But today it's more about foundation, right? So why do people struggle with leash reactivity? The first thing is when your dog sees another dog, they could get excited. They could get stimulated. It's not always an aggressive thing. It's a reactivity thing. That's like when you take a Mentos and you put it into a Coke bottle, it reacts, right? So when you're walking with your dog and you see another dog, or you see a squirrel or even a human, the dog could react because that thing entered your environment. So let's talk about your foundation. Now, what is foundation? Your foundation is going to be your communication. What is your communication? That's going to be your obedience. So when we talk about obedience, some people will think like the traditional heel, sit down, stay in place, and that they're not wrong. All those things matter. Now with Burley here, he knows his basics. He has a good foundation. But let's say your dog is leash reactivity or has leash reactivity. If you don't have a good foundation, likely when you go out for a walk, your dog is going to be in front of you, your dog is going to be pulling you, your dog is going to be behind you. And that not only indicates lack of control, but it's really an indicator for your overall relationship. So if you go out with your dog and they go, hey, I'm driving the ship here, when they see another dog, that could be predicating the reactivity because the dog says, hey, I'm excited, let me go, you don't tell me what to do, this is a free-for-all. Or it's, I'm insecure, you don't know what you're doing, you're showing me very clearly because I'm all over the place, and it makes the dog react because they're fearful or they're protective. So you have to have a good foundation, which is videos that we've done before, but really auditing. If you guys do not have a good foundation, you can't walk your dog from A to B on a loose leash, tell your dog to sit, tell your dog to let me just show you what this looks like. Burley, let's go, heel. So when I'm out with Burley and I'm walking, let's say you're walking with your dog and you slow down and stop. Your dog should know, good boy, your dog should know that you had stopped, right? You should have engagement, right? If you don't matter on the leash, you're certainly not gonna matter when there's another dog. Think about it. If you're out walking and there's no other dogs and your dog is literally disengaged with you, pulling you all over the place, if you stop, they just keep going. If you turn, they keep going. Like for an example, when I'm out with Burley, heel, and I turn, that indicated to him like, oh, dad's turning, I should probably follow. So if you guys don't have that, there's no chance, no shot in hell that you're gonna be able to handle your dog when there's heavy distractions like another dog or another person. So that's the first thing about this video. The other thing is just really having the mindset if you have a reactive dog. Maybe they don't like other dogs, that's okay. Not everybody likes everybody. I don't like every single person I meet, and that's totally fine. But you should really be focusing on your overall obedience and being proactive instead of reactive. Meaning, don't wait for there to be a problem to say, hey, I need to handle this. Don't wait for your dog to be lunging at the end of the leash, snarling and growling and flipping up in the air and spinning around. I've seen it all, guys. I travel the world. I've seen so many reactive dogs, and people try to stop leash reactivity when it's actually happening. You guys should be proactive. What can we do successfully and preemptively to get the dog not even to react in the first place? And there's 3 key ingredients that I go over in my leash reactivity course, which I'll leave the link in the description below. This is just a little snippet of this. So let me show you what that looks like. We're going forward. Let's say there's a dog in front of us right now where you guys are on the camera. Outside turn, heel. I'm turning away from the dog. If your dog doesn't, we're gonna use the leash pressure. Good, let's go, heel, okay? Now we're gonna go back, inside turn. So we're gonna do this again. So wherever the head goes, the mind will follow, right? So if your dog is out for a walk, you see another dog, you can turn inside. Let's go, heel, good. Inside, this is a great way to start to deactivate and what I call dismantle reactivity. Your dog is locked in on something and all of a sudden they get a leg that does this and pushes them back the other way. You pay them for working with you. I'm gonna demonstrate that one more time. We're out forward, you guys are the other dog. The dog is locked in, stimulated, inside turn, heel, good. You guys don't have to go back home. Whenever I say, hey, do an inside turn and peel out of that situation, dog owners will literally go back home. You don't have to do that. It takes 2 seconds to literally just turn around, deactivate the dog. I talk about this a lot. It's like a simmering pot of water, guys. The dog starts to simmer right before they boil. You take it off the heat. It immediately stops, right? The boil stops. So you're walking with your dog, inside turn, okay? This is gonna be really helpful for you guys. Now an outside turn, the exact same thing. You're peeling away from the dog. So depending on where the distraction is, or depending on where the target is for your dog and where they're focused on, you could do an outside turn, heel, good. Okay, so the inside outside turn. Now we're gonna do a drawback recall, which is just as successful. I have my No Bad Dog treat pouch right here, guys, has the interactive squeaker. I got my dog's attention, we're out for a walk. My dog's reactive, boom, there's another dog. Boom, there's a squirrel. Boom, there's another person. My dog's reactive. Burley, come. Yes, good come, boom. Now look at my dog's positioning. Look at my dog's body. Look at my dog's head. He's getting paid because he did a successful recall. Like I talked about in the beginning of this video, break, Burley, break. If you guys don't have good communication, you're not gonna be able to successfully do this. Let me demonstrate that all together. This is something you guys can implement tonight, today, this morning, this evening, whenever you guys are watching this. And if you guys are watching this and this is helpful, please do me a favor. This is absolutely for free. We usually charge hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for this information. Leave a like, leave a comment if this is helpful for you guys. Let's do this. Three dismantling exercises here now. Let's go. We see another dog coming, inside turn. Yes, good heel. Good, okay? We're walking away, we come back, right? We're hitting this thing again. Let's do, yes, come, yeah, good boy. Drawback recall, inside turn, working my dog. Heel, outside turn, inside turn. So not only does it allow you to be proactive with some of this build that your dog may or may not have, but it also just develops engagement. You guys can see when I'm working with Burley, we'll pop up the screen up here to show you guys how engaged he was when I was doing that. He was looking for me, right? He was looking for what I was doing. He wants to get paid because he likes beef liver, but also he knows that I have a good balanced relationship with him. I have a healthy relationship with him. If I turn Burley heel and he doesn't, he's going to get corrected. He's going to get some sort of accountability. And that's the other thing I will say, when you guys are doing this exercise, let's just say your dog is really leash reactive, right? They really love other dogs. They really hate other dogs. If you guys don't have some sort of accountability, if I come out this way, Burley, come, and he didn't come, and I just nagged him and nagged him and nagged him and nagged him and told him to come, if you don't have accountability, none of this is gonna work either, right? So if you do your inside turn, you do your heels, all this is gonna go down the window if you don't have good accountability. This is a 100-pound dog. He's on a No Bad Dog slip leash, which are back in stock. This is back in stock. All my merch, if you guys want to support and also use the equipment I'm using, link in the description. So Burley heel, when I'm out heeling with my dog, this is how it should look, right? When I slow down and stop, I want my dog to at least acknowledge the fact that I stopped. This is important. If you guys do not have this, you are not going to be able to stop leash reactivity. Heel. I also have an watch out for that garbage can. I also have an episode on my No Bad Dogs podcast, which is called Your Leash Reactivity Blueprint. I can't remember what episode it is. You guys can check that out on the No Bad Dogs podcast on any podcast platform. Really walks you through all of this in audio format as well. But if you don't have good communication and you don't have a good base, none of this is gonna be successful. Let's move on to the second most important thing, and then we're gonna get to the third, which is definitely the most important thing. But first, let's make sure Abby doesn't hit another garbage can. All right, you guys, as a reminder, I'm gonna be in Netherlands this fall as well as in Nashville, Tennessee. Netherlands working spots are completely sold out, but please come and hang out. If you live in Europe, we're gonna be close to Belgium, we're gonna be close to Germany, an hour flight from the UK. Tickets and information are gonna be listed in the link below, and I hope to see you guys in Nashville and Netherlands this fall. All right, another question I get all the time is, Tom, what if I'm in a situation that I can't really get out of? What if I'm in a situation where I'm in a tight road, a tight hallway, a tight scenario where there's another dog that's way more reactive than my dog? How do you handle these situations? So one thing that you guys can do is something that I call constructive avoidance. So regular avoidance is basically, Burley, look at me. Hey, don't worry about the other dog. Which isn't necessarily terrible because I'm only really big on whatever works. And if that works, freaking do it. It's the most important thing I've learned over a decade over working with dogs professionally is I'm a dog lover at heart, of course, and then I became a professional. And I'm really sincere about doing whatever works. But a lot of times that doesn't work because this is a $10 bill, that's a $50 bill. So sometimes what you can do is you come out, let's say we have another reactive dog over here. Start working on your obedience. Burley, sit. Good, sit. Good, I'm paying him for this. Good, this is constructive avoidance. As the dog is moving, duration markers. Good, sit. Good, sit. Yes, good. The dog moves past you, break your dog. Some dogs get more vulnerable when you put them into a sit or you put them into a down. He's a slug, he's a toad on a toad in a hole, toad on a log. What is that saying? Something on a log. He's lazy. So sometimes I put him into a down, sometimes I put him into a sit. But again, he's an intact male. He's a big protective dog. He is going to become reactive. I already know that. I really don't care. My dog doesn't need to be friends with everybody. I didn't get him for that purpose. He is not a dog for other people. He's a dog for me and my family. You're out for a walk with your dog. You see another dog that's just as reactive. They are harnessed up. They are flexi leashed up. You're like, okay, this is a nightmare. What's going on with all the garbage cans? We're getting bombarded here. They're coming out. Burley, sit. You could try a sit, good sit. Burley, down, good down, nice, good down. So this is constructive avoidance, right? I'm avoiding the problem by giving my dog a job. I apologize for the garbage trucks. I don't know where they're coming from. Hopefully they pass soon. It's like every time we try to film, this happens. Abby and I are like, let's go out and film. It's a nice day. Clouds come out, trucks go, kids start yelling. But regardless, hopefully you guys can hear me now, regardless, but using what I call constructive avoidance is I'm giving the dog something to do constructively instead of doing the potential reactivity, right? Because it's unfair. All right, let's talk about number 3. Number 3 is going to be an inevitable situation that a lot of you probably have already run into, which is going to be if you're out with your dog and you see, again, a train wreck, a harness with the flexi, they're barking, they're reactive, you're in a small space. You guys, don't be afraid to grab your leash and go, yep, I'm out of here. I'm not gonna be able to handle this. My dog isn't gonna be able to handle this. But most importantly, a lot of people think that you're failing by doing that. You're not. You're being responsible. You're saying, hey, I'm a recovering alcoholic and there is a bunch of people out here drinking, I'm not gonna stay here. I think that makes sense. I'm not really an alcoholic, but I think that makes sense. My analogies sometimes get a little crazy. But the moral of the story is, guys, is don't put yourself in a situation that you're likely gonna fail in, right? Don't make it hard on yourself. I want you guys to, and I wanna encourage you guys, if you're ready and you have a good heel and you're out and you're walking, pass those dogs. You have a big wide open road, pass those dogs. If things don't work out, which is attached to number 3, it's okay, right? Like that's the important thing too, is if your dog reacts, you're like, oh man, we failed again. It's okay, you wanna keep practicing. What a lot of dog owners do is they have a problem. Their dog is reactive at the door, their dog is reactive to other dogs, their dog is reactive to people. And what they do is they work on it once a week, twice a week. Go out and walk your dog, get around other dogs, go on the outside of dog parks, go to trails on the weekends. Do the best you can to work on these things. It's okay to fail. And personally for me in my life and my career, failure is a really good motivator. If you're like, man, that didn't work out, how can we make it better? That's what you guys should be working on. Just remember, you guys are not failing if you decide to do constructive avoidance. You're not failing if you decide to go up on a driveway or maybe even turn around and go the other way if things are out of control. So just remember that. And I hope this video was helpful. We wanted to make this video because, well, I don't think we've ever really done it in the neighborhood, especially with my puppy. So he's doing pretty good. I hope you guys are doing pretty good. As a reminder, we put videos out like this every single week. So like, leave a comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next video. All right, Burley, good job. Don't forget to let your dog decompress after some stressful walks. If your dog is reactive or they're anxious, they're fearful, and they're out, it could be stressful for them. I always pop him into the crate, he eats his breakfast. He's not that dog, but I mean, I'm saying if you did have a dog, like come back and decompress, whatever that looks like. For him, it's gonna be in the crate, eating his breakfast and chilling. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of how to film with your dog in the neighborhood, getting absolutely harassed by garbage trucks. I mean, just so like, This episode is brought to you by